I'm Nidhi and I am from India, from the south specifically, and I work with One Management, so hi. I'm a model, but I'm really just a multi-dimensional creature. I actually started modeling when I was in law school back home in India, and I got scouted basically on my semester vacation, and one of my friends wanted me to help them with scouting locations for a production, and the production happened to be a model hunt, and I was helping them in my hometown because they had no idea where they could shoot. When I got on set to help the crew with production, the executive producer of the show was like, "Oh, you should be a model," and I was like, "No, I shouldn't. I'm really ugly and I'm not photogenic at all." I think if you ask any model, that works a lot. Most of us grew up as thinking that we weren't photogenic. We also grew up super awkward. We also grew up being called names. I don't know what it is. I feel like models went through like really weird, ugly, awkward adolescent phases. I think it's just a thing. But that's how it started. I sort of got pushed into working as a model because I was helping scout for locations, and I just got all this information saying I need to be in front of the camera, so I tried it, and the rest is history, I guess. Outside of modeling, I am passionate about everything. It's really, I'm super grateful. I know it sounds so LA to say that and so cheesy to say I'm super grateful, but it's so nice to be able to do what I do because I get to travel and I get to meet people who are all entirely creatives, and I get to be excited about direction, photography, painting, art direction, writing, film, and it's pretty amazing because people also, when you travel the whole world working with people from all over the world, everybody is so informed by their own upbringing and their own culture and their own aesthetic, and you kind of absorb all that like a sponge, and then you kind of vomit everything out in like your own process, which is really exciting because you're kind of this like really strange filter and your life experiences go through that filter, and then you get to see reality through this really unique lens, which is really exciting about my job. I work specifically with a cause called the Invisible Girl Project, and basically what we work on is female infanticide in India. It's a huge problem because we have a culture where the male child is preferred, and if you have a daughter, then she's assumed to be an economic and financial burden, and in a lot of places what they'll do is kill the baby. Socioeconomically, it's not restricted to like the lower economic class. It's also pretty prevalent amongst the wealthy as well. It only depends on how traditional the structures that they follow are. Sometimes when people are wealthy, they can find out the sex of the baby early on and have it aborted. Finding out the sex of your baby in India is illegal when you're pregnant. It's not in America. It's like really crazy. I only recently found out that the reason you have baby showers is to celebrate the sex of your baby, because then everyone knows that you're having a boy or a girl and they bring in like sex specific like gifts, but that's not a thing in India because you're not allowed to find out the sex of your baby because female infanticide is such a thing, because a lot of places if they find out it's a female baby they might abort the child. It's nice to be able to be a model and have a platform that allows you to speak to people around the world, because then you get to bring attention and awareness to issues that otherwise would kind of stay buried, because as Indians you're not really traveling and openly speaking about female infanticide. Like that's really not what you want to sell about your country. When you have emotional awareness, that's one thing. Like when you touch upon an idea and you're like, oh, I can sense this idea and I'm cognitively like aware enough to like realize it exists, but then actually putting that idea repetitively into like motion, like a discipline, creates this kind of like you absorb it into your body. And really for me, spirituality is in my body, you know, it comes from the body. And like when you're an actor, when you're involving yourself in a process like acting, you have to use your whole entire body all the time. I remember going through this process just before I first came out in New York, and being involved in acting helped me sort of release my narrative about who I was as a human being and how I like to present myself, and kind of just let it all go and be creative for the sake of being creative, just because it was enjoyable and because it was me getting in touch with a part of myself that was unconscious, that just like lay there, that I never reached out. It's really interesting to travel and realize that you can be perfectly educated and exposed and travel and still be completely unaware of a lot of things that are going on in different countries. I get to have a unique perspective on that because I get to educate myself by literally being there. Everything that I've written about obviously has to be with being a girl, because I'm a girl, and that's my unique perspective. But I haven't been able to write about the gender side in India, which I probably will, but I did write about how culturally we discriminate against dark skin in India, and I wrote about it for Days magazine, which was fun, and it was cool because it kind of got through. It kind of got published with no edits, which was nice. So I was like, oh, I can write, I can actually do this. I think it's a colonial hangover a little bit. We have like this huge industry that's commercial in Bollywood that basically tells you that you are not beautiful unless you have really fair skin, and then you have this like multi-million-dollar industry that revolves around fairness creams and bleaching products because they're trying to sell this idea that white skin is aspirational and your skin tone is not. And it's really funny to then like travel across the ocean and come out to like Europe or America, where everybody that I meet wants to be tan and wants to lie under the sun so they can be brown like me. And it's really bizarre because I'll go to India and I won't get any compliments around my skin color, and then I'll come out to America or Europe and everybody's like, I love your skin color, I want to have it, and do you do anything? What do you do? Do you have bronzer on? And I'm like, no, I don't have anything on. It's really bizarre. Everything that I do, I know, comes with this like public platform, which is like activism and you know, acting or modeling or whatever. I don't see the things that I do as a profession because I feel like it's kind of like labeling it a profession makes me feel like I'm doing it for like an end goal, like money or success or whatever. But really, like, I see my whole life as this process of self-evolution. I see my life expanding and growing, and then like these other things happen that are great, that are material or whatever, you know, like cool, I get to have money now and like buy that I wouldn't otherwise buy. But then generally it's just more fun to see the whole thing as like one unified place where like you're growing as a human.